So, you've been hearing a few things, you've been watching some videos, you've been reading some reviews, you've been seeing what other people think, and you still can't decide, is the original Acqua di Gio Profondo for you, or should you opt for the new flanker, Acqua di Gio Profondo Lights? In this video, I'm going to give you my thoughts and tell you what I think is the way to go. So stay tuned. So first, obviously, Acqua di Gio Profondo came out first. This is a flanker to the famed all-time great seller, you know, legendary men's fragrance, Acqua di Gio. This being the newest release before its own flanker, called Profondo. It was released in 2020. The same perfumer that's done the entire line, the famed Alberto Marias. Man knows what he's doing. The man knows his way around a fresh fragrance. And this was nothing short of an improvement upon the more recent flankers, because those of you that watch my channel, you know I thoroughly enjoy Profumo and Absolute. I do enjoy those. I even like Absolute Instinct. I'm a big fan of this line as a whole, but I feel like they really stepped it up when they released this one. There's a new synthetic used in here called Aquazone. Adds an additional aquatic feel, while not really some big standout. It just makes it that much more aquatic, while definitely having kind of an ambroxan kind of smell, while not a form of ambroxan technically. Mixed with the C notes, some of the greenery and the citruses, the mineral notes that are in here. It really has this strong blue aquatic feel. The color is very fitting because it takes Acqua di Gio and makes it a modern blue fragrance that's pretty much a powerhouse as well, because we'll get into the performance in a little bit, but it's definitely no slouch. It's great at garnering some compliments, as is pretty much all the fragrances in the line, and it was masterfully done by a master perfumer. Fast forward this year to 2021 and you have the flanker to the flanker, Acqua di Gio Profondo Lights. Now this doesn't shy away from what was done in 2020 with Profondo. So it does smell like Profondo, but what they did here is they removed that Aquazone, at least according to the note breakdown, but I suspect it's still in there because it's part of the core DNA for the Profondo flanker. You still have the C notes, you still have some orange citrus, but the bergamot's removed and supposedly the Aquazone's removed, and they added some more green components. So there's a little bit of spice added by some cardamom, and then they added a fir balsam to enhance the green notes that were already in there, which it already had rosemary and cypress, and the balance kind of changed a little bit. They freshened up the opening. This is definitely a fresher version, and you get a lot of that greenery and some fresh spice. I feel like the rosemary is much more present in this version than the original Profondo, and I'm a sucker for a nice fresh green fragrance, and this is more of a fresh green fragrance than a blue fragrance, whereas the original was as blue as it gets, while still maintaining the aquatic nature of the DNA. You still get the heart and backbone of Acqua di Gio's DNA with the modern update of Profondo in this fragrance, just tweaked. Balances changed, some notes added, some notes subtracted, but overall not a completely different smell. This is fresher and this is greener. Let's talk about the performance on both. So I've worn this several times. I've worn this a few times now as well. While both fantastic in their own right as standalones, we gotta separate them and really get down to, if you're gonna buy one, which one should you get? So we start off with performance, which seems to be the utmost important thing to most people, and I get it. You want your fragrance to last. A lot of you want people to be able to smell you easily, and I would say the edge in projection is going to go to Profondo. I find it's much more present after the first 2 hours, because in the first 2 hours this is a pretty strong projector. It's very easy for people to smell you, while maybe just dialed back a little, half a click from Profondo. This is no slouch in projection either, but I find past the 2 hour mark this still shines. This still pushes off of my skin much stronger for much longer than Profondo Lights. While the longevity, I don't find a drastic difference. They're both in the 8 to 9 hour range on my skin, both in that beast mode territory, what I consider the beginning stages of a beast mode longevity anyways. So that doesn't really separate them from me with my experience on my skin. They're both roughly, we'll call it 8 to 10 hours, more so in the 8 to 9 hour range. They both last very long on my skin, but the projection, the edge, goes to Profondo. Now, I know this for a fragrance enthusiast is important. How synthetic are they? Okay, we have these artificial man-made synthetics that are being used, especially with the Aquazone note found in here that I still think may be in here, but maybe not. And here's why I agree that it may not be in here, because this is much more of a synthetic smell. This is the more modern shower gel blue fragrance that has the synthetics to enhance its performance, and it has that mass appeal. I don't find it's quite as present on the synthetics here, while still not some natural smell. The fresh greens that were added and enhanced here, the little bit of green that was changed, the spice, and the enhancement of the rosemary and cypress, I feel changed the scent profile enough to not stray from a similar smell to where it still smells like Profondo at its heart, but it doesn't come off quite as sharp and synthetic up top for me. So to be honest with you, I have to give the scent profile to Profondo Lights. I feel like overall from the two, while I'm not going to sit here and knock Profondo, just based on scent alone and the quality of the scent, I think Profondo Lights shines a little bit brighter in this instance. So we discussed the performance. This was your winner. We discussed the scent profile. This was your winner. There cannot be no ties. I'm not that guy that's going to say, oh, well, it depends on your taste. While technically it does, and I agree you should sample both to try them out. Personally, I feel, for me, I like Profondo Lights better. I'm willing to sacrifice that slight projection and still get the same longevity to get the better scent. Scent's very important to me. This is not quite as sharp, while still in its heart as it dries, you still smell Profondo. It still has that aquatic nature. The C notes are still there. But if you want that extra push, you really want a better chance at getting a compliment, because I've gotten several compliments with this one so far. If you want a better chance, the higher likelihood, this does perform a little bit better. So if performance is that much more important to you, Profondo is the hands down choice for you to go after. If scent is more important to you, this is the one. My choice, Profondo Lights. Well, that's my thoughts. That's my feelings on the flanker to Acqua di Gio Profondo, and the flanker to the flanker, Acqua di Gio Profondo Lights. Both awesome releases for the line, for the house, by Alberto Marias, in my opinion. But because of the scent quality, the slight change in the scent profile overall, the not quite as sharp synthetic in the opening, I like Profondo Lights a little bit better. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. How many of you tried both? How many of you swear by Profondo? And if you do, I totally get it. Like I said, not gonna knock it. It's great. I wore it this past week in my rotation because I haven't worn it in a little while, and I knew I wanted to do this video, so I had to get another fresh wearing in for this, because the last 2 weeks I've been spending some time with this one. Like I said, get out and sample them. I can understand why most people may pick Profondo, but for me personally, I think Profondo Lights is slightly better because it's fresh greens, which I'm a sucker for fresh greens. Not as synthetic in the opening, doesn't sacrifice a lot of projection, but it does sacrifice a little bit, but lasts just as long for me. But you make the choice on which is better for you. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on either one of these, you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.